Everybody's addicted to shortcuts, whether it's AI, whether it's software, whether it's ads or funnels, in hope that it's going to solve all their problems with their business, with their money game, with their lifestyle, with their relationships. But guys, in reality, that's going to do nothing. You are the only issue. The version of who you are right now is not compatible with making millions, and that's why you're not. It's not some shiny object that you need to find. It's the version of who you are. There is a version of you where it is impossible not to be living your dream lifestyle. You know, I'm not here, guys, because of some new viral content style. I'm here because it's impossible for me not to be here with the work I've done on myself. You know, physically, on my body, on my mindset, on my paradigm, with acquiring the skills and the knowledge, the belief systems, the mental syntax. It's impossible for me not to be here. So I can just pick up a phone, run my whole business from a phone, and make millions. I literally have set 2 7-figure offers, one in coaching, one in consultancy, from literally just using a phone. That's it. Because of who I am. And there's a version of you that can do that too. But it's human nature to take the path of least resistance. You know, so it's not like, oh my God, you're this horrendous person for doing this, for going after these shiny. No, it's human nature. Yeah, everybody should study human nature, because human nature makes you a failure, right? Human nature puts you in the pack of the 99%. What we have to do is we have to reprogram your nature to not be like everybody else. Nobody's born with this. We have to intentionally program this through working on your body, changing your self-image and your identity so your expectations and what you demand from yourself is much greater, but also the internal work, the paradigm, which is only done through exposure and repetition to a winning formula, to the belief systems and syntax. You know, think about it, guys, like a dog, okay? Now, I've got a Doberman, and a Doberman, its natural instincts are to just roam around, jump in all the bushes, go crazy, buy everything, chew everything, just go nuts. But I have to reprogram its instinct. It's like training a dog, right? Through repetition, through constant training, through exposure to me who knows how to behave and train it correctly, I can get my dog to sit whenever I want, lie whenever I want, not move, not eat food right in front of itself, walk in a heel position, then go sprint, then bark. You can do all of these things through training because it's instinct. It doesn't even now have to think. My dog just does this new instinct. But naturally, it wouldn't be the dog it is today because we've worked on itself. We fed it better food. It's strong. It's athletic. But we've worked on its inside game. We've retrained its instinct. So now in a split second, it doesn't have to think. It just does what is high performance. Okay? That's what we have to do. Normal human nature will never make you millions, no matter what strategy you have, no matter what viral content, no matter what ad strategy you have. We have to work on you. All right. Now, everybody, and you're most likely watching this, like trying to work on this, and you're trying to work on this, and you're trying to work on this, you're trying to work on everything, but from an identity and from a paradigm that's just not equipped for it. If you were equipped for it, you would already be making millions. Like I said, everybody wants to take the path of least resistance, and it seems easy to just stay in your current self and try and get this little shortcut. But that's not reality. Reality is, if you want to grow, you want to make a lot of money, you want to be your highest self, and you want to feel high frequency, we've got to tap out of human nature, and we've got to work hard on it. Okay? We've got to work very hard on it. And the only way to do this, guys, is by trying your very best to remove all low performers from your life, from your close circle. All right, and only look up. So the first thing everybody needs to do if you want to become successful is just stop listening to people who you wouldn't want to live like. If you wouldn't trade places with someone, don't listen to them. Don't even watch them. Don't have them in your eyesight. You got to do your very best to clean up your environment. And then you've got to go to work on the one toughest thing. When you master yourself and you go down that path of self-mastery, you start living in a high frequency, in alignment. You know, you got the early wake up, your habits are unlocked, you're training hard, you're building the body, you got your macros dialed in, not just to look sick, but perform amazing mentally. You're cognitively sharp, you're full of energy. You know, I woke up at 3:30 this morning, right? And I'm just buzzed. Most people would just be asleep right now and procrastinating, right? I've already made like 3,000 pounds this morning, and that's not even a good morning for me, right? And it's 10 a.m. My point is, when you just focus on yourself and you get your daily process so dialed on your body, on your mindset, on the internal work, you go through the assumptions, through the alignment process, what I call consciousness calibration. You keep your environment tight. You have time to study, time to go down that, improve your knowledge on your skills. Think about it. If you get this new ad, but you're still the current version of you with the value you have inside of you, it's still not going to make anything because people look at you and go, I don't really respect that guy. I know that guy isn't living how I want to live. You've got to become a full-on master of what you do. So I just went all in on, I need to devote so much time to become a master of building the best physique, building the best mindset, high performance, building businesses, building personal brands, coaching, consultancy, course businesses, right? So I'm the best in the game at what I do in my specialist little niche, okay? Like I build businesses, no ads, no sales calls, no outreach. It's just pure organic. And I'm living in alignment. I have my dream business. Everybody who works with me comes to me, okay? And I have my day set up perfectly in alignment. So you can achieve all of these things. My relationship, my partner just respects me. She just gets to play with the puppies and go to the cafe all day and just live a lavish life and everything's free. She has no stress on her shoulders with real world problems. These are all by network, millionaires, 1 billionaire. People work so hard on their relationships, so hard on networking, so hard on creating an amazing lifestyle, so hard on making money, so hard on growing the business when you could just take the most resistant path, which is work on yourself and have discipline to hit that daily process of high performance habits every single day, dialed in, on lock, just for you. And through evolving that version of you, it just becomes impossible to fail. Plus the exposure to guys who are already winning. I am where I am in the position I am, simply just through repetition working on my body, repetition working on my mind, and repetition being around guys who are absolute savages living the life I want to live. And just subtracting everything else. And it's difficult. It is difficult. It's against human nature. But because I've done it so much, it's the only thing I can do. And now everything else just seems easy. And even the daily process of doing these habits seems so easy because you build flow state. Yesterday, I did so much work. I did like 10 days work in one day. And it felt like the easiest day ever. You build a flow state. Whereas you can actually be doing not much and you feel burnt out and you feel tired. You're out of alignment, right? When you go all in on self-mastery, on the exact guy you want to become, exactly how you want to look, exactly how you want to operate, exactly how you want to communicate, exactly who you want to be, the business you want to have, the life you want to have, and you align your daily process on mastering who you need to be for that, life actually gets easier and it's impossible not to have that version of life, right? Could you imagine, remove all strategies, could you imagine me working a 9 to 5? Could you imagine me having an online business and making 5K a month, 15K a month, 30K a month, 50K? No. Because of who I am and the standards I have and who I've built myself into. I've been exposed intentionally from working with coaches, consultants, to guys who are making hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of pounds. So I now start thinking like them, believing like them, operating like them, and it's impossible not to win. The daily process of working on yourself relentlessly, not missing a day, is the only way to win at everything, and everything feels easy. People message me sometimes and they'll just look at my Instagram stories and they'll look at what I'm posting and they're like, Tom, you're just living for a living. It looks easy. How do you do that? It's because all I do genuinely is I just have a daily process, which means I'm growing physically and mentally, and I'm hitting my business blueprint. And I just run it every day and I don't look anywhere. I've got blinkers on and everything else just takes care of itself. But people want to avoid doing that work. That's why everything's a battle. You have to get in alignment with your higher self and you have to become that guy. You're in a relationship right now. It might not be that good. You're stressed. Your missus is stressed because she's having to pay for some stuff. Whatever. Would you have these relationship problems if you were just a higher level of yourself? No. Would you have these business problems if you were just more confident, more competent, more knowledge, more understanding of marketing and sales? Because guys, you have to have the most knowledge and skills in your specialized area so you can give that value out and attract a lot of value back. But in order to even get people to buy your online service, like my clients who have coaching, consultancy, course offers, you have to be a great marketer and great at sales, because it's your duty to be great at marketing and sales, because you need people to be able to buy your thing to actually get the value. My value isn't in my content. The real value, a 1,000 million X value, is when they work with me, is when they're inside my program or inside my consultancy. That's where we go through the real transformation. So you've got to be great at marketing and sales. This is all working on yourself, the version of you, where they respect you, you respect yourself, you have high energy, you have confidence, you're convictional. You know, it's all you have to do. Sometimes I struggle to even articulate my point with how easy it is when you just take the one difficult path, which is going all in on you. Yeah? Every day you are doing this daily process. You're waking up early. You're doing some mindset reading. You're going through that consciousness calibration morning process. You then get into your day. You're working on your high leverage business tasks, which actually grow your business. Okay? You're training, you're eating your nutrition, which supports you building the best physique, but also operating from such a sharp level, making you more of a profitable person. Don't go down this crazy bodybuilding route or whatever, where you just brain fuck yourself and you can't think. Like, I've done that before, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I couldn't think. I was just brain fucked. You need to use your body as a tool to build competence and success. And then you got to work on the mind. That daily process of just reprogramming your paradigm, almost like hypnotizing yourself every day with the assumption, with the alignment, with that self-talk of who you want to be and how you operate and how you think and how you believe, plus exposing yourself daily to guys who already have that paradigm. Through enough repetition, all of this information goes from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind paradigm. Okay? Now, right now, you're failing because your paradigm is the 99% paradigm. And it's throwing the shiny objects and short, least resistance human nature paths back out here. We have to program enough stuff in which is elite level through repetition, through self-talk, through exposure into your conscious that bleeds into your subconscious mind, and then it's going to reprogram your instinct. My instinct is wake up and win. The limiting beliefs through who I've built myself into, through the physical outer work on myself and the daily inner work on myself, through my reading, through my daily process, consciousness calibration, mentors, coaches, consultants. That daily work on myself, I'll also add keeping my environment clean, removing people that are breaks. That daily work on myself has built and embedded my subconscious mind to only win. I don't have the limiting beliefs I used to have. I could give you some hypothetical strategy, but with your paradigm, you can't win. You can't win. You just can't win. The reason I weren't winning at the level I am today in this crazy villa 5 years ago is because I want this version of me. It's not my ad strategy. I don't run ads, right? It's not some funnel. It's not some AI software which has come out which makes you millions. It's nothing other than the version of me through compounding the daily process and improving my daily process to the level it needs to be in alignment with the man I am today. And this isn't something you do once and then you just drop it. I'm refining my process to keep going up. You know, if I've made 100K a month, I need to keep refining to make 1 million a month. Right? I need to keep acquiring more value in myself in order to receive that back. It's that simple. The hardest path is the truthful path. And the truthful path is you're losing because you aren't that guy yet. And every guy can become that guy. That's the best thing about being a man. I think if you're a chick, I think you're either born pretty and in a nice family and men will just fucking wife you up if you're the right one. And I think it's like pot luck, it's genetics. Are you the fit one or you're not the fit one? Yeah, you can go get a boob job or whatever, which might improve you a little bit, but like, you're it or you're not if you're a girl, pretty much. As a guy, everyone is a 0. You know, maybe as a kid you might be a 7 out of 10 because you're a kid and, you know, everyone respects you because you're a kid and it's like women and kids, right? But once you hit 16, 18, probably 16 these days, once you hit 16, no one gives a fuck about you as a man because your value goes from, oh my God, he's a kid, to he's an adult now with no value. He's not personally developed. He has no value. He has no skill sets. He's awful at marketing, awful at sales. He doesn't look like he respects himself. He's just a loser like everybody else. But you can use that fuel to become whoever you want to be. People put women on a pedestal, like the most attractive women, right? And women are on a pedestal. But if you turn yourself into that highest level of yourself, you become that guy that's undeniable. Your value in any marketplace is always higher because you don't just have looks, okay, and a pretty personality. You can build yourself into a guy which is a master in relationships, a master in business, a master in network, okay, master at making money, a master at everything. So you just become this individual which can't fail in any area. And everyone knows this is true. You might be sat there right now going, I know this is true. If I just improved who I were right now, and I created that version of me, and I'm visualizing it right now, who this version of me is, how they would walk, how they would talk, how they would look, what would their physique look like, what would they make decisions like, they would move with speed, they'd be so sharp, they'd believe in themselves, they wouldn't doubt, they wouldn't get low frequency. Well, all of this stuff comes from your habits, comes from your process on working on the real stuff. All I've done is get around people who have that and just adopt it and run with it and move with as much speed and aggression every single day because life moves fast. And it's very easy for life not to change. And if life isn't changing, you're moving backwards. You know, because success is an exponential curve. It just goes like this and then like this. But it isn't going to go up that graph, chasing shiny objects, just aligning with normal human nature. It's going to go up that graph when we start to reprogram your mind and your paradigm with a new set of instincts, which is win, which is success. It's very intentional work you have to do every single day. That's exactly what we do inside all my programs. Inside my elite, that's fitness, body, and mindset. Inside my brand, it's all the specialized knowledge you're going to need to actually build your brand to 50K plus a month without ads, without outreach, without sales calls, without all this cringy content. But we still work heavily on the paradigm to make that sort of money. Like I said, even if I just gave you all the knowledge now to go build your physique, to go build your mindset, to go build your business, less than 1% of people could even do it with the knowledge because you have to have exposure to the mindset. Mindset is everything. I hear all the time, yeah, man, you know, I got the mindset, I just need to build my business. I got the mindset, I just need to get in better shape. No, you don't. Don't umbrella your mindset. Your mindset is perfect for where you are right now. Expose yourself to different, reinforce the daily process to become that next level version of yourself, and everything will become easy. That is one promise I can make to you today. If you go down the path of becoming undeniable, you get around people who have already achieved the sort of life you want, and you start to move like them, operate like them, think like them, it's impossible not to win. And I can tell you this firsthand because that's exactly what I've done. But it's not easy. Make the choice. Losing is fucking hard, winning is hard, right? But at least get the life you want out of it being hard. You know, when you go for these shiny objects and you keep chasing them, because human nature thinks it's the easiest path, it's actually the hardest path because it seems easy in the moment, but it keeps you losing. It keeps you repeating history. And repeating history for me is fucking suicide. Like, I fucking die inside if I'm not progressing every day. Like, my paradigm just can't accept it. It's awful. I don't know how people do it to themselves. And yet, that's been me, a version of me before. But I just simply can't tolerate staying the same for a day. So when you choose the hardest path, life becomes easy. You got to program your mind for that. Okay? Think about the bulls. I always tell a story about the bulls. You know, they look at the storm. And they look at the storm and they run directly into the storm. Clouds are coming this way, the bulls run this way. They get out the back of the storm very fast by just chasing the hardest path, and then they get heaven, then they get sun every day. The cows, they walk away from the storm, but the storm just stays over them, and that's living in hell. You know, it talks about it in Conversations with God. People think that hell is some place you go up in the sky. Hell is the consequence. Hell is the life you live for being out of alignment from your higher self. Therefore, you can't reap all the benefits from it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you put your foot on the gas. you can't live well. You live in hell. You are living in hell right now, not being in alignment with your higher self, in that assumption. And I was sat outside my villa yesterday. Big 5-bed fucking mansion, just pool, podcast room, 3 living rooms. It's just sick. Huge view, and I'm just looking out. Dogs are walking around, Mrs. is there, they're all playing. Mrs. is playing with the puppies, the cleaners are having a laugh, the staff are all having a laugh. They're loving it, being in this property, working here, obviously because it's my place. Who wouldn't want to live with me, you know? And I'm like, for one of the, I've thought it briefly before, but I literally just sat there and I looked at the sky, I looked at the view, and I was like, this is heaven. I'd heard that hell isn't somewhere up there, it's the consequence you live. But yesterday, it was God communicating with me. It was like, you know, you stayed faithful. I've got goosebumps right now. You stayed faithful when it was tough. You kept choosing the hardest path when it was tough. And even when life made it even tougher and it threw more circumstances at you that were pretty much impossible to deal with, hundreds, thousands of times, you never missed that daily process. You never missed going harder on self-mastery. And I am now rewarding you with heaven. And I was sat there and I was like, I don't need to go to heaven. I'm fucking living in heaven. I'm living in heaven. I'm building who I want to be every day, getting closer to that next level, that next assumption every day. I'm living in a high frequency. I don't have my limiting beliefs that I used to have anymore, which were just a suicidal weight on me. You know, I'm in a great relationship. I've got great guys around me. I'm in the best places on the planet. I have complete lifestyle design. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm working with the best clients. I'm helping people. I'm seeing people go through that process and win. Like, nothing is more fulfilling than seeing people win. And it is just a very spiritual realization. You know, heaven can be your time on earth. Don't wait for heaven up there. If you're not living heaven on earth, you're not living heaven up there. Heaven is alignment, and hell is out of alignment. It's as simple as that. You can argue with me all you want. Heaven is you're in alignment and you stack the wins no matter what. God threw fucking hell at you time and time again, but you showed 100% faith. You never backed down. You never retreated. You never gave up. You never were a true failure. And you just fought against your human nature and you just said, bring it at me, fucking God. I'm going to fucking go. I'm not taking no for an answer. And then all of a sudden, it's like this air pressure valve releases and you're in heaven. And then the ability to just keep compounding that flow state of high frequency when people are like, oh my God, you're just living for a living. It looks easy. That's what it's like when you're living in heaven. And once you are living in heaven, you just compound more of heaven. There is going to be a period of your life, you know, like I'm talking about with this exponential curve, where it's just grind, grind, grind. Hardest path every day, hardest path every day. Train hard on your body. Eat the best food. Say no to pretty much everything. Okay? Work hard on your business. Work hard on your skills. Work hard on yourself. And show up no matter what. And then all of a sudden you're in heaven. And another day compounds you. You can grow more in a day from being in heaven. From them 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, 6 months of work here. You grow more in one day and compound more growth. Personally and in your relationships and with business than you did in 3-5 years prior. That's just the game. That's just the truth. And people don't want to face it because the average person's paradigm only accepts comfort. And I'm totally cool with people just only accepting comfort just because they won't win. But those who want to win, you're watching right now. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to win. This is just what we have to do, guys. We have to show up no matter what. We have to do our work. And you are going to get hit down when you're in your darkest days. And you're going to keep moving. And you're going to keep moving. And you're going to keep taking the path of most resistance. And all of a sudden, every aspect of your life has no resistance. Because you just mastered yourself. Let's get it. Let's go. Go kill it, guys. I want to hear your wins. Drop them in the comments. Message me on Instagram at Dr. Tom Pearson, and I'll shoot you guys a message. All right, let's go.